And I thought the group that was in there at the end, that they really did exhaust themselves and play very, very hard in the last 8 minutes. Made a significant difference. When you play that hard, you just make better plays, you make better decisions. And we put ourselves down 4 with the ball, and I could have called a timeout, but that would have been my last timeout. And I felt like if we scored, I would use it then to set up the press, because that's what was helping us. We missed and had a foul, and they made their free throws down the stretch.
Would you say this is one of the more disappointing, just because of the way they played in the first half, with everything you
I thought
emphasized?
the first half was really disappointing and very discouraging to me, that all the things we're trying to work on and improve, we don't focus on doing those things under game conditions. We went over a few things yesterday, and today it's exactly the same. Until a team learns to practice better and execute better, and then execute under game conditions, the same mistakes keep occurring. And it starts at the defense, and it starts with effort. And what we've explained to our players is our opponents see it. They watch tapes, their coaches are telling them, here are the things that we can do against these guys, and we don't show the resistance. At some point, a player has to be accountable for his decisions on the court.
I want to ask you about Reggie in particular. Can you just talk about his game today?
In the first half, we were very passive as a team, and makes it difficult to get any kind of fluid offense going inside or outside. We weren't hitting any threes. We weren't scoring in the low post. We basically were inactive in the second half. We were able to get him the ball early in the half, but once it reached the 10-minute mark and we're still down double figures, he's got 4 fouls. We got to take him out so we can press, because his strength is not in a full court press.
Yeah, can you talk about the lineup you went with at the end, what they were able to do, and then your decision, I guess, to sit Malcolm?
Yeah, Malcolm and Durant. I think Malcolm, Durant, and Reggie were all out at the end there.
No.
Malcolm and Reggie.
Malcolm and Reggie were out. Primarily, when you're behind, the pressure's on you to catch up. And you have choices. Our first choice was to go zone and hope they missed some shots, which they didn't. The second choice is to press them and try to force some turnovers, because we weren't stopping them with our half-court man-to-man. The guys on the bench who were well-rested, Shane and Ryan, had more energy. We needed one of our big guys out there with Reggie in foul trouble. He was obviously the one to take out, because he's not very good in the press. And we left Durant in there. So we put DeQuan on the ball in the full court press, and he's athletic and quick, and he can get to the traps. That really helped us. And then Shane came up with some steals. I don't know how many he ended up with for the game. He had 3 steals for the game, but they all came during that stretch when we were able to put some pressure on their guards.
With Shane and his development, I know these last 3 ACC games he kind of struggled, but tonight he seemed to play well. Can you talk about him and just step forward for him?
Well, one of the things we've tried to emphasize to everybody is to be aggressive in doing what you're doing, whether it's defense, offense, whether you're coming off a screen, you got to get separation. If you're a dribbler, you got to be able to beat the guy and get inside. And quite frankly, we need to be more aggressive. He needs to be more aggressive. But aggressive doesn't mean out of control, where you get yourself up in the air and, I aggressively beat my man, but then didn't know what I was going to do after I beat him. You got to stay under control. He had a couple of nice passes at the end to Kenny for dunks. And quite frankly, what you need to do as a point guard.
Jim, the three-point shooting, just one of those days, or?
I think that comes from being passive. Aggressive works. Playing hard works.
I want to put the entire blame on him, but is Durant trying to force the issue too much when you're talking about playing under control? Mm-hmm.
Well, I would say that his effort to try to attack is good, but you also have to be in control and make good decisions. Like the two turnovers down at the end, it was nice aggressive play. You gotta stop and make a good pass, and he wasn't able to do that. And I think that's something in an area that all of our guys need to improve in.
What are your thoughts on Kenny's play today, and where do you feel like you've really seen progress from him from the start of the year?
Well, I think Kenny is getting more confident and comfortable. I think he's getting more shot opportunities. He gets inside buckets, but he also gets some of the jump shots that he likes. Today he got a couple of dump-off passes or dunks, which obviously he likes. And whenever you get an easy basket, your confidence soars. Because I'm around, this is easy, I feel comfortable, I'm getting shots that I know I can make. It's when you take difficult shots and your percentage shrinks. And when you miss shots and your confidence starts to wane, then it's really hard to get it going. And that's when you have to get an easy shot. And that's what our three-point shooters needed to do. That's what Malcolm needed to do. That's what Trey McKinney-Jones needed to do. That's what Durant needed to do. If you're going to shoot threes, you can't just rely totally on the three-point shot unless you're open. They're open, but if you take tough ones with guys all over you and you miss, then all of a sudden you think, oh, this is not my night.
What did you tell them at halftime? If it can be repeated.
I basically told them that being aggressive, being a hard-nosed competitor and playing hard is what works. And playing the way we did in the first half, very passive. We had one assist at halftime. We did not find an open man, and even when we did, we didn't make the shot. And most of our issues are mental. Most of them about being mentally tough, and when you're challenged, when the opponent challenges you, to rise up to that challenge as a competitor does, and not avoid the competition, and think that you can get away with less than 100% effort.
So how do you correct that? I mean, it's the same, you have these guys, what do you do for the next game?
That's a good question.
I mean, do you change lineups, or do you stay with the same guys?
Well, we'll explore several options, and I'll discuss it with my staff.
Jim, a little bit off the topic, Joe Paterno died today. Do you have any occasion to meet him or deal with him at all?
I only, one of our former George Mason players, a young man by the name of Gabe Norwood, his father was on Joe Paterno's staff when Gabe was at George Mason. And Brian Norwood is at Baylor now, doing a great job. I think he's been involved in some head coaching jobs. But Coach Paterno was very nice when Gabe won the leadership award for the conference. Coach Paterno did a video talking about Gabe and his father and his family, and Gabe's brother was playing for them at the time, Jordan Norwood. So that was really the only contact we've had.
Can you get back to her question about what you can do to correct, how does the fact that you get such a quick turnaround impact what you can do?
Yeah, we leave this afternoon for Atlanta. We're gonna miss school no matter what. We didn't wanna leave tomorrow morning and be rushing to get there in case of weather or anything like that. So, we've got a lot of work to do. I think, you know, I was anticipating what our squad would be like, you know, before the staff and I arrived, and you know, I found that we've got a lot more work to do than we originally thought.